How did you sleep?
Very well, actually. A long time since I slept in until 9.
Dustman have been. Did you put the bin out?
Damn. I lose all track of days. I had quite a lot for them too, having cleared out the cupboards in the garage.
Never mind, can't be helped. I'm glad you slept well. So, what day is it today?
Hold on. Where's my pen? Here it is. Right. Cross out 93, and we are on day 94 of lockdown. So, your starter for 10. What else has taken 94 days?
Let me think. I believe it took you 94 days to agree to holiday anywhere other than Blackpool.
What's wrong with Blackpool?
How long have you got?
Try again.
Took 94 days for you to master the use of Zoom, 94 days to learn how to put your dirty washing in the basket, 94 days to...
Okay, I think I see a theme here. Stop guessing. The answer to my question is Napoleon I's second reign as Emperor of the French lasted 94 days from 20th of March to 22nd of June 1815.
I can't believe the trivia you keep in your head. You can't remember what it was you went to the shop to buy. You should be on a quiz team.
No, you need to know about pop music, soaps and football. You know I'd be hopeless.
Well, let me ask you my question again. What day is it? And I mean the date, not the period of lockdown.
Okay, that's a tricky one. Yes, on this day in 1797, Nelson was wounded in the arm and had to have it amputated.
Well done. But I was thinking of something a bit more recent and relevant to us.
Oh yeah, the first time we went away together and had a bit of privacy. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Well done again. It was quite a night, wasn't it? Sophie and Stephen's engagement party and the night that George was conceived. I don't know what came over me agreeing to stay in a B&B overnight. We had to register as Mr. and Mrs. Smith, didn't we? You made me carry the luggage in. You said it would prove we were married. I had to keep my left hand in my pocket.
I did offer you a polo mint, but it was too small and I didn't have a curtain ring.
Ever the romantic.
Then you blew it at breakfast by asking whether I drank tea or coffee.
I wasn't used to all that subterfuge. Waiter winked at me. I blushed so much I don't think my face calmed down for hours.
It certainly was a night to remember.
And that was just the start of it. You couldn't get enough of me in those days.
I also recall when we told your parents that you were pregnant. Your mother went white as a sheet. And your father was so red in the face that I thought he was going to have a heart attack. When he left the room, I was convinced he was off to fetch the shotgun.
Yes, we seemed to skip the stage in our relationship when Mum would normally ask me if we were sleeping together. They came round to the idea of the baby, eventually.
43 years marriage, and they said it wouldn't last. They were good years, weren't they?
I think you could be looking at our marriage through rose-tinted glasses. We've had our ups and downs, normally related to money in some way. Putting a saver and a spender together is bound to be fraught with issues. Remember when I found this house? You said it was way over budget, was as good as uninhabitable, and we were moving here over your dead body.
Well, as usual, you proved me wrong. I think the psychedelic walls, the bean bags and the strong smell of cannabis prevented me seeing the potential of the place. It was the perfect house to bring up our family. Thank you for not listening to me.
You're welcome. We've done a lot to this over the years, haven't we? The extension to create a rumpus room for the kids and an ensuite upstairs was one of your better ideas.
Well, I had to stop you spending more money and moving to a bigger house. I found some of the estate agent's brochures hidden in the drawer that we keep the tablecloths in. Prices made my eyes water.
You never told me that.
I thought I played it pretty cool. Coming home one day with plans drawn up on the back of an envelope. Admit it, it was the his and hers basins in the ensuite that sold it to you, wasn't it?
Well, it certainly wasn't the bidet, especially as you called it a foot bath. Actually, it was the room for the kids to play in. I was sick to death of clearing up the lounge after them. The rumpus room gave them their own pigsty that I could just shut the door on.
Makes a nice study now.
Still as messy as when the kids used it. I don't know how you can work in that mess.
I know exactly where everything is. Which pile on the floor, which pending tray. Every office should have at least 3 pending trays and a couple of to-be-filed trays, preferably on the floor, so as not to get in the way of the paperwork on the desk.
If you say so. Is that what you call horizontal filing? I thought filing cabinets went upwards, not outwards. Do you think the house is too big now? The children and their families have moved on and have their own lives to live. If only they didn't live so far away. You only visit for a day, their diaries being too full to stay any longer. Do you think downsizing would be a good idea?
Not yet. Maybe one day.
So, what do you have planned for today?
A walk, of course. I thought I might push myself and try a slightly longer walk. It's incredible how much fitter I've become during this period. The first time I walked up the hill behind the house, I was puffing and panting. Now I hardly notice it. I don't know why I haven't walked around this area more. Scenery is fantastic. But I'm not going to walk by the coast again. There were so many people there that social distancing was a real issue, and with dogs and kids running riot, I didn't feel safe.
Why don't you walk over to the park by the Hare and Hounds? The borders have been maintained throughout the lockdown and they're always so beautiful this time of year. The roses are magnificent this year.
That would mean I'd have to go past those traffic lights.
You mean the ones where I had the accident, don't you?
Yes.
You must try and get over that. You can't let it keep haunting you. It was nobody's fault. It was black ice and the truck skidded out of control. Just so pleased that it happened after I dropped young Fred off at school.
I'd rather it hadn't happened at all. If you hadn't been held up at the level crossing just before that junction, it would have been a different story. If Fred had been ready when you picked him up, and if...
What ifs are not going to help. It happened. We can't change that. You've got to move on.
Yeah, but it's not easy. I know what you're saying, that I must, that it makes sense. But I just can't do it yet. I'm just not ready. It turned my whole world upside down.
Me too.
Yes. Sorry, that's very selfish of me.
Okay, I won't go on about it, but you shouldn't let it eat away at you. Meanwhile, back at your walking, I'm really impressed with the way you've taken up the challenge. You're definitely looking better for it. Do you know, I think you've lost some weight.
So, still fancy me?
Always. Oh, don't forget the Zoom call with the family this afternoon.
Well, thanks for helping me with using that. Scared the life out of me the first time, but you always were an excellent teacher.
Nonsense. All you had to do was take a deep breath and look at the various icons. You'd think you were afraid of receiving an electric shock if you pushed the wrong button the way you were panicking. You've really cracked it now.
Well, we'll see this afternoon, won't we? It is nice to see the family, though. Susan seems so grown up now. I can't believe we are old enough to have a 21-year-old granddaughter. I loved hearing about her Zoom birthday party, and all her friends entered into the spirit of it. Films released in the year she was born. What a great idea. Kids love dressing up at that age. And who'd have thought her friends would have made such amazing costumes out of bits and pieces they found around the house? Did you see Tarzan? Where did he find that costume? Do you think he tie-dyed a sheet?
Could have done. Well, I liked R2-D2, even though I'm sure it was a very uncomfortable costume.
There were rather a lot of Woodies from Toy Story. I guess that it was a fairly easy option.
I'll never forget that fancy dress party we went to. Was the theme the Oscars? Everyone looked lovely in their dinner suits and cocktail dresses. But you had to insist we went as Batman and Robin. I never felt so stupid and embarrassed.
I think it's quite amusing looking back on it. And the kids always think it's so hilarious.
I think we can be proud of our children and grandchildren. All seem to be successful in their own fields and keep an eye on the oldies, even if it is remotely.
Yes, I miss the hugs. But I'm sure it won't be long before we return to some sort of normality.
Let's hope so.
I was thinking in the shower this morning, I really ought to try and learn some Spanish for the next time I'm visiting Paul in Barcelona, so that I can converse in the shops and restaurants. I think he would be proud of his old dad if I could do that.
Great idea. Sure you'll pick it up quickly. You seemed to pick up reading the menus, etc. quite well last time we went. You just need the confidence to actually speak the language. There are plenty of apps that help.
Apps? What happened to Linguaphone? You know what I'm like with technology.
Oh, don't put yourself down. Try it. You might like it.
What are you laughing about?
Do you remember when you walked into the wrong toilet in that bar we went to?
How was I supposed to know that the senoras was the ladies? Senor is a man, isn't it? And I assumed senoras was the plural. I don't know who was more embarrassed. Me or the girl who was inspecting the ladder in the thigh of her tights.
Oh, we've had some good holidays, haven't we? Once I persuaded you that there was life outside Blackpool.
Yes, we have certainly seen some amazing places and met interesting people. That's interesting in a good and a bad way.
Are you thinking of the couple we met in Latvia who were determined to convince us that the world was flat?
Amongst others. I was tempted to agree just to stop him talking at us. The evidence they came up with was unbelievable. The horizon is flat, not curved. And if the Earth was a sphere hurtling through space, then water would be wobbling all over the place, not staying flat.
Yes, lots of interesting debates. Quite enjoyed just sitting back and listening to the two of you as the conversation became an argument and very heated. His wife was nice. She and I had some nice chats while you two were doing your best to change each other's point of view.
Yes, she was very nice.
Was she?
There's something I never told you. I always wanted to. It was the night you couldn't come down to dinner.
Well, the night I had food poisoning.
Yes.
Go on. You're going to tell me it was something you gave me to eat?
It was a bit more than that.
I know. You two had a fling, didn't you?
You mean you've known all along and never said anything?
I know a lot more about you than you think I do.
I've always wanted to tell you. I felt really bad keeping secrets from you.
Well, you can now. You can tell me anything. How did it happen?
It didn't mean anything. Her husband had gone up after dinner to read and she just wanted to talk to someone. She was very lonely in her marriage. I felt relaxed after a nice bottle of wine and I just listened to her. Then one thing led to another. It wasn't planned, it just happened.
How long?
A few months, that's all. Her office was near our London branch. We met up whenever I was up there. I'm so sorry. It was all a long time ago, but I tried to tell you on a number of occasions, and then after the accident, I just couldn't.
You've kept in touch, haven't you?
Yes, but not lately. How did you know?
Woman's intuition. Tell me the truth. Do you want to pick up where you left off?
Don't ask me that. I don't know.
It's your life. I can't tell you how to lead it. Other than Latvia's obvious attraction, which was your favourite holiday?
I still think that India was my favourite trip. The people were so friendly, and the time in the park watching those tiger cubs was unbelievable. Something I will never forget.
Yes, it was a memorable holiday. You lapped up all the history of the cities. Taj Mahal was the highlight for me, even the cliched photograph taken whilst we sat on Princess Diana's seat. The food was an eye-opener. I was really worried the curries would be too spicy for me, but flavours were something else.
You know what? I think that tonight I'm going to try and cook a nice chicken curry.
Oh, don't tell me you're tired of beans on toast.
Very funny. I think my culinary skills are coming along nicely. Will you help me? I have the recipe you use, but if you could just watch over me and point me in the right direction when I start to mess up.
Of course I will. It really is much easier than you think.
You always make out that cooking is complicated and takes years of practice.
Well, you're about to find out that I was just making sure you appreciated what I cooked for you. In fact, I suppose I ought to tell you that the recipe you have is just for show. Have you read the ingredients? We haven't any of those. I don't even know where to buy them. Now, in the larder, behind the Rivita, is my secret stock of curry sauces. I knew you'd never find them if I put them behind diet food.
No! All these years you have been using ready-made sauces?
Afraid so.
Even at the dinner parties we held?
Especially at the dinner parties. I nearly confessed a couple of times, but you were singing my praises, telling everyone how I made the curry sauce from scratch. I hadn't the heart to contradict you.
Do the children know that you cheat?
I wouldn't call it cheating, just using my initiative. No, they don't know, and I want to keep it from them. It'll be our little secret. Agreed?
What's it worth?
How about I don't tell them that you're not the great plumber you make out? Every time you decide you'll sort the simple job of replacing a tap washer or sorting out the ball cock in the toilet, you end up with a flood and having to call out a real plumber.
Agreed. I was thinking about that last Zoom call. Tanya playing the piano. I have to admit I struggled to keep the tears away.
Playing our song.
Yes. It was prominent at so many points in our life. Playing on the jukebox when we met in that pub.
You said it was a soppy, girly, sentimental song and not your thing.
I was just trying to look macho in front of the guys.
Then you played it on your cassette recorder in the car the night you asked me to marry you.
Did I actually ask you to marry me? Or did we just agree that we ought to do the right thing?
Well, in my mind, you proposed.
Ever the romantic.
First dance at our wedding. Not that we could dance that closely with a big bump between us.
Every anniversary party we held. And then...
Don't say it.
Bloody telephone. I'll let the answer phone pick it up.
Might be important.
Not as important as talking to you.
Do you have any regrets?
Bit of a pointed question.
Just thought you might have things to get off your chest.
Okay. Well, you know I didn't mean to hurt you.
How would I know? You never actually told me that. Apparently there was always someone or something to blame. I'd forgotten to buy your favourite yoghurt, or the shirt you wanted to wear was in the washing machine. Or once you even blamed the fact that England were losing at the cricket. I'd like to hear you take responsibility for that temper of yours.
It's not easy.
I didn't say it would be.
I really believe it was the drink.
But you continued to drink when you knew how it affected you.
I've thought a lot about that recently. I don't care what they say. I'm convinced that truck driver was still over the limit after having a skinful the night before. If he had been totally sober, he would have been able to control his truck. It made me think about my drinking.
And what have you decided?
I'd virtually cut it out.
Really? If you believe that, then you're seriously deluded.
There have been times since the accident when I needed that prop. Surely you can understand that.
Do you talk to your therapist about this?
No. Do you think I should?
What do you think?
Maybe you're right. I guess I'm embarrassed to admit to the way I treated you. I don't believe I'm addicted. I could give it up any time. I just don't want to yet. I should talk to her about it. I've really opened up to her about all sorts of things. Things I've never spoken to anyone about. I hadn't realised how much I needed someone to talk to. She's been a godsend.
We need to talk.
That sounds ominous.
I think it's time we moved on.
Please don't say you're leaving. I miss you so much.
You don't need me anymore. You've come a long way, and now's the time to stand on your own 2 feet. Look forward, not backwards.
I can't do this without you.
You can. Believe in yourself. I'll still be an important part of your life. And whenever you have a difficult decision to make, you'll think, what would Anne tell me to do? And you'll hear my voice, whether you like it or not. This lockdown's given us an extended time together. But as the restrictions start to ease, you'll talk to neighbours, friends, maybe even next door's dog.
Never. It hates me. Or rather, I hate it, and it loves my ankles.
It's a puppy. It just wants to play.
Well, it can play with someone else. It's ruined 2 pairs of socks already, nipping at me.
Maybe you should consider a rescue dog yourself. It would help you to keep up the walking and be someone to talk to. I'm sure it would love to hear about when Napoleon was shot in the arm.
Nelson?
There you go. A dog would be better than me. It would listen to you, show interest in everything you said. Yeah, on second thoughts, not really practical having a dog when you go back to work.
If I go back.
What do you mean?
This period of being furloughed has given me food for thought. I only have a couple of years until my normal retirement date anyway. Do I really want the hassle? Marketing is a young person's game. I see the way the kids in the office look at me, and I'm sure I heard someone refer to me as Grandad one day. Experience seems to count for nothing these days.
You know, at least you're meeting and socialising with people. It's good to stimulate the brain, rather than sitting here talking to me all day and watching reruns of Midsummer Murders.
Who knows if I'll even have a job after this is all over. Companies have been hit badly, and the marketing budget is always the first thing to be cut. People will look at new ways of advertising, probably using technology that is just a mystery to me. I'm not sure I want to be part of it. I'm too old to be told by someone who should still be in school that I'm not meeting targets and that I need to adapt with the times. Life is too short.
Maybe. Don't do anything rash. Furlough money's a great help. Delay making a decision as long as you can. Discuss it with the children, see what they think. Would there be an option of part-time? Would that be better?
I don't know. At the moment, I just can't face commuting, meeting, long hours, the withering looks every time I lock myself out of my computer. Midsummer Murders isn't so bad. Sometimes I even remember who the murderer is. I could always move on to Murder, She Wrote.
The day you watch that is the day I know you've given up on life.
Stay with me today. Help me rustle up a curry to be proud of.
Of course. But you can't cling to me forever. You've got to move on. You know I didn't survive the accident. You know that, and you must accept it.
I can't. We didn't have a chance to say goodbye.
Goodbye, Terry. And remember, as in the words of our song, when I need you, I just close my eyes and I'm with you.
When I need you, I just close my